Instant messages on MSN or Yahoo, and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of a story. We always need to hear both sides of the story. 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 Yes, both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
Heaven from all creatures hides the book of fate, all but the page prescribed their present state. From brutes, what men? From men, what spirits know? Or who could suffer being here below? The lamb thy riot dooms to bleed today, had he thy reason, would he skip and play? Pleased to the last, he crops the flowery food and licks the hand just raised to shed his blood. O blindness to the future, kindly given, that each may fill the circle marked by heaven, who sees with equal eye as God of all, a hero perish or a sparrow fall, atoms or systems into ruin hurled, and now a bubble burst, and now a world. Hope humbly then, with trembling pinions soar, wait the great teacher death, and God adore. What future bliss he gives not thee to know, but gives that hope to be thy blessing now. Hope springs eternal in the human breast. Man never is, but always to be blessed. The soul, uneasy and confined from home, rests and expatiates in a life to come. Lo, the poor Indian, whose untutored mind sees God in clouds, or hears him in the wind. His soul, proud science never taught to stray, far as the solar walk or Milky Way. Yet simple nature to his hope has given, behind the cloud-topped hill, an humbler heaven. Some safer world in depth of woods embraced, some happier island in the watery waste, where slaves once more their native land behold, no fiends torment, no Christians thirst for gold. To be contents his natural desire. He asks no angel's wing, no seraph's fire, but thinks admitted to that equal sky, his faithful dog shall bear him company. Go wiser thou, and in thy scale of sense weigh thy opinion against providence. Call imperfection what thou fanciest such. Say, here he gives too little, there too much. Destroy all creatures for thy sport or gust. Yet cry, if man's unhappy, God's unjust. If man alone engross not heaven's high care, alone made perfect here, immortal there, snatch from his hand the balance and the rod, rejudge his justice, be the God of God. In pride, in reasoning pride, or error lies. All quit their sphere and rush into the skies. Pride still is aiming at the blessed abodes. Men would be angels, angels would be gods, aspiring to be gods if angels fell, aspiring to be angels, men rebel. And who but wishes to invert the laws of order, sins against the eternal cause? Can you pause it when you go to the break? Okay. Hi.
Walk into Marjan's Pharmacy and you will feel better. The service is clearly different. Marjan's Pharmacy, call 876-703-6335. The time by Marjan's Pharmacy is 2:15.
Are you an NWC customer with multiple properties? You can add account numbers for those properties to be serviced using a single login profile. Just go to nwcjamaica.com and visit the customer web access portal. Try it now.
Did you know that the National Irrigation Commission Limited
Huh?
is the sole authority for irrigation
You paused
services in
it?
Jamaica?
Right.
The National
So
Irrigation Commission
you'll
Limited
play Knowledge is Power and come back.
agricultural
And then
productivity
I'll
through the provision
read
of
another
efficient
piece
and affordable
and send it back
irrigation
to you.
farmers and other customers. Contact them 977-6624 or 977-6727 or visit their website www.nicjamaica.com to learn more. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 15 years. That's right. Join us on Thursdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and at 9:55 p.m. Compliments of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, educating, advocating, empowering. Under the Law, Thursdays on Power 106 FM.
Farmers and fisher folks, Sagicor has all your answers with coverage for life and health insurance. Tune in this and every Thursday during Farm Talk for the featured Sagicor Agricare Plan as we educate you on the types of coverage they have to offer. That's Sagicor Agricare Plan every Thursday during Farm Talk from 6:33 to 6:45 a.m. Brought to you by Sagicor, affordable life and health insurance for farmers and fisher folk.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
Ask for what end the heavenly bodies shine. Earth, for whose use? Pride answers, 'tis for mine. For me, kind nature wakes her genial power, suckles each herb and spreads out every flower. Annual for me, the grape, the rose renew, the juice nectareous and balmy dew. For me, the mine 1,000 treasures brings. For me, health gushes from 1,000 things. Seas roll to waft me, suns to light me rise. My footstool earth, my canopy the skies. But errs not nature from this gracious end, from burning suns when livid deaths descend. When earthquakes swallow or when tempests sweep towns to one grave, whole nations to the deep? No, 'tis replied, the first almighty cause acts not by partial, but by general laws. The exceptions few, some change since all began. And what created perfect? Why then, man. We trust your curiosity has been piqued by our selections this afternoon. Alexander Pope, The Essay on Man. That's the piece we've been reading from, the first epistle. Alexander Pope, The Essay on Man, the first epistle, published 1732, 1733. 32, 33. And we've paired that with the oratorio you've been listening to. Now, this oratorio is entitled Jonah, Jonah, Jonah. Why are we telling you this? Why are we playing this? Well, it's part of our Holy Week selections. This is Holy Week in Jamaica. But this oratorio, and we don't want to take anything for granted with respect to the word oratorio. This is usually a large scale, usually narrative musical work for orchestra and voices, typically on a sacred theme, performed without costume, scenery, or action. Well-known examples of an oratorio include Bach's Christmas Oratorio or Handel's Messiah and Haydn's The Creation. This oratorio is significant. It was composed by Samuel Felsted, Samuel Felsted. Why are we telling you this? Because around 1773-74, while he was an organist at the St. Andrew Parish Church, and that church is very old, in Halfway Tree Square, more than 300 years old. So Samuel Felsted was an organist at the St. Andrew Parish Church. His oratorio, which you have been listening to this afternoon, his oratorio, Oratorio, Jonah, that's the name of this oratorio, Jonah, Jonah. This oratorio, Jonah, was the first oratorio written in the Americas. The first oratorio written in the Americas, and it had to be a Jamaican, Samuel Felsted, who composed the first oratorio in all of the Americas. And that's the significance of this selection. Samuel Felsted, as we said, born in Jamaica. His parents were originally from England. They got married in Philadelphia in 1741. They soon left Pennsylvania and came to live in Jamaica. The older Felsted was in the iron trade, but played the organ and shared the musical interests of the rest of the family. Samuel Felsted was born in 1743 and presumably received a good education, which provided the foundation of his adult interests in botany, art, poetry, and music. He was also described as an inventor, and an 8-page manuscript records the plan and description of a horizontal wheel invented by Samuel Felsted in 1798. He was possibly taught to play the organ by Samuel Patch, a Kingston organist, and John Raymond, who was the organist in Port Royal. He became the organist at the St. Andrew Parish Church, probably in his 20s, and held the post until 1783. He then held the same post at the Kingston Parish Church, and this is in downtown Kingston, top of King Street, Kingston Parish Church, after the death of the previous organist, who may well have been Samuel Patch. Samuel Felsted himself died in 1802, and nothing further seems to be recorded of his personal life or career. And again, Samuel Felsted's significance lies in this work you've been listening to, which he composed around 1773, 1774, while he was organist at the St. Andrew Parish Church. And the oratorio you've been listening to, which was composed by Samuel Felsted, F-E-L-S-T-E-D, you can Google it, was the first oratorio written in the Americas. And its rediscovery created a great deal of interest in the music world. Dr. Howard F. Smither, the world's premier authority on the oratorio, has documented the unique position of Felsted's Jonah in his authoritative work, A History of the Oratorio. It was a matter of some surprise that the first oratorio written in the Americas was produced by a hitherto unknown Jamaican composer in an island now known primarily for the music of Bob Marley. However, the work points to a Jamaica that then featured much more prominently on the world scene as the most valuable of Britain's colonies, and as was able to support a level of musical and theatrical activity that could attract the interest of metropolitan performers. So this is another achievement of Jamaica. Samuel Felsted. You can Google Samuel Felsted and read more on this oratorio, Jonah. We could not have thought of a better time than Holy Week to share not only Alexander Pope's essay on man, the first epistle, but also the oratorio Jonah, composed by Jamaica's Samuel Felsted. And as we said, it was the first oratorio written in the Americas. And that is significant. It had to be a Jamaican involved in this composition. So it is. As we celebrate 60 years of independence, these are some of the gems, some of the notable and noteworthy nuggets that we take pleasure in sharing with you, our faithful listeners at home and abroad. In a moment, we will properly kick off today's edition in the usual fashion. Stand by.
My God and King, to thee I sing, my humble voice I raise to sing thy praise.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Before it gets worse, take Benjamin's Relief for stuffy nose, cold, flu, cough, sinus, and allergy symptoms. Lay back, relax, and get fast, effective relief from Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
You can just let it
Sides of the story.
keep running.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Stories from Jamaica and across the world, keeping you informed on the issues of the day and more. It's Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Learn interesting facts and trivia. Participate in lively discussions on affairs locally and internationally. Hear the stories of business, philanthropy, and more from Jamaicans at home and abroad on Both Sides of the Story. Come tell your side of the story. Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, on a mission to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
In thy praise, my voice I raise to sing thy praise. My voice I raise to sing thy praise.
It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the decade of action for road safety, and 2022 marks the start of the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 12th day of the 4th month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. The month of April is still being observed as World Autism Awareness Month. It's Arab American Heritage Month in America. And here in Jamaica, April is Cancer Awareness Month, Farmers Month, Financial Literacy Month, and National Sexually Transmitted Infectious STIs Awareness Month. It's Cosmonauts Day in Russia, National Redemption Day in Liberia. It's UN International Space Flight Day, which will then give way to Yuri's Night tonight. And Holy Week 2022 continues. Hoy es martes el 12 de abril 2022 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est mardi le 12 avril 2022 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Tuesday, the 12th of April, 2022, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never, ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you can download from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free. Listening is free whenever, wherever. We thank you if you have dialed one of two designated numbers to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. Those in the US who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631 359 8281. 631 359 8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330 606 0953, 0330 606 0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVANMALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook account, no sweat. There's always YouTube. The Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel is up and running. You don't need to have an account to watch us on YouTube. We thank you very much for your input and participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. Welcome to those who are already on board, as we welcome your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Good afternoon to Karit Bedward. Hi, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Randy Williams asks, should we be claiming these people? They were born in Jamaica, but did Jamaica have anything to do with the development of such people? Would this man was an Englishman like my grandfather. And you're saying that to say Randy Williams? He was born in Jamaica. That cannot be erased. It's just a fact of life. It's like Bob Marley was asked about, what was he asked about? Racism. And he said, look, my mother was black and my father was white. That's it. I mean, I didn't have any control over that. So Samuel Felstead was born in Jamaica. That's a fact of life, Randy Williams. And whether we want to accept that or not, it is a fact. He was born here, which makes him a Jamaican. Thank you for your message, Randy Williams. Mel V in California asks, how are you? It's been a while since I last tuned in. It's good to have you on board, Mel V. Pottinger. Shines for Life Law says, blessed afternoon at Uncle D. Manners and respect to you too. Shines for Life Law. Sherry South Time says hello. Hello to you, Sherry South Time. Dolores Jones says, good day, Dervan and friends. I'm not on Facebook for the Lenten season, but will be back after Easter. Didn't know you were on YouTube, watching from Sacramento, California. Welcome, Dolores Jones and all the other Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica in Sacramento, California. Good to have you on board for both sides of the story. This second in the series of Holy Week editions of the program. Let's go to this call coming through on our text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mark. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm all right. And happy Easter.
To you too.
To your family and your listening.
Same to you.
Okay. I hear Bob Marley say a thing in our interview. And I'm going to see me record this one. He said, the man, when I refer to you, and I'm just saying what he said. Him say the man who dodge from reality, him can't deal with him. Because he's a hard man to deal with. I mean, I'm not talking to you, Mr. Generalize him. Anybody who deal with that. No, you never been into a courthouse, right?
I don't plan to. Knocking on wood. No.
Alright. And I know if you plead guilty and you confess to an offense, what you're telling the system is that you're guilty. So it's for them to make a decision with you, right? Am I right?
Yeah, the law will take its course in whatever way, shape, or form, taking into account your situation or each individual's situation, because it's not supposed to be one size fits all. Each case should be treated on its own merit.
Yeah, but once you confess to the offense and what them accuse you of, you're already telling you guilty.
If you assuming you did so, you didn't do so under duress. You weren't pressured into confessing or plea or putting forward a plea. If it came naturally, then that would be the ideal situation. But we don't live in a perfect world, and invariably what happens is that people are forced to go one way or another on the basis of whether they'll get a shorter sentence, or you won't have to worry about the judge saying that you're wasting the court's time, and so on and so forth.
Okay. I say all that to say this. I hear the DPP make a ruling some time ago about the leaves that they trim. And then the public defender come with a different saying. But I saw her on the news get the DPP getting upset. I say she can't bring it into court because they will throw it out and it look like they don't know what they're doing. But if the officer, when asked why you trim the lady, and they said the reason why they trim the lady is because they fear she might harm herself. That means you already convicting oneself. So I don't know why she don't want to bring it in the court.
No, it might seem straightforward to you, but it's not. It's not that straightforward. Hold a moment, please. Hello.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Waiting on your receivables, waiting to purchase raw materials to fulfill your next order, waiting to get paid for goods already sold. 60 days, 90 days, invoices way past due. What if you could be insured for up to 85% of your domestic and foreign receivables, so that if you don't get paid on time, your biggest priority, your business, will not have to wait? Trade credit insurance. Insurance worth having. Credit without waiting. Exim Bank. By helping businesses, we save lives and lives.
Become the hero on the scene by taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as they get all the facts. Don't listen to the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to sit face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safer for everybody, from the young to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally when things were more orderly? And if you want to live a long good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated along with the heroes on the front line. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Stories from Jamaica and across the world, keeping you informed on the issues of the day and more. It's Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Learn interesting facts and trivia. Participate in lively discussions on affairs locally and internationally. Hear the stories of business, philanthropy, and more from Jamaicans at home and abroad
on both sides of the story. Come tell your side of the story. Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, on a mission to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app. The Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, providing medical care for function and performance, in association with Winchester MRI, Jamaica's first choice for MR imaging, Immune Active Deck, a combination of key active ingredients designed to boost the body's natural defense, and Almighty Studios, a recording studio where we create worship music to praise, to worship, and to serve, present Rehabilitation Now, a 30-minute feature on physical medicine and rehabilitation for people overcoming pain or dysfunction from injury or disease that affects muscles, tendons, nerves, and joints. Rehabilitation Now with rehabilitation physician Dr. Paula Dawson airs every Thursday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. on Power 106. Free your body from aches and pains with Rehabilitation Now, right here on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thank you for holding in the profession and the legal profession and the judiciary in general. There are certain standards that you have to meet. It's just like you in school, you take your work to the teacher and the teacher says, you're not finished. You need to do it over. This is not properly done. You need to do it over. So similarly,
I understand.
Oh, you do?
No, I understand what they're saying. But in this case, I've seen many times them put case before the court. And people have gone to England to get justice. Sometimes the court even choke the case. So why this one cannot go before the court?
Again, there is a standard. And the practicing attorneys, whether prosecution or defense, they know what those standards are. And the last thing they want is to be embarrassed in the courtroom on the basis that they should have known better than to put forth such a shallow, porous case.
But Mr. Malcolm, if I cut your ear and the authority come to me and say, why you cut Mr. Malcolm here? And I tell them, I fear he might harm himself. What may I tell the authority?
It still needs to be tested. And having been tested or pre-tested in this instance, they have arrived at a conclusion that it doesn't rise to the level.
Mr. Malcolm, they not accuse you of anything. They don't accuse them of anything. They, a question was asked and the answer that they give, they convict them oneself.
Are you a lawyer?
I don't have to be a lawyer to figure that out, Mr. Malcolm.
No. The lawyers know their profession. The plumbers know their profession. The barbers know their profession. They know why.
So
they know why they do what they do.
The public defender office don't know what they're doing there.
The public defender's office has taken a position based on information that they have gathered. Both the DPP and the office of the DPP and the office of the public defender came from different angles in terms of, in other words, the DPP, for example, has a wider pool of evidence or material than the office of the public defender. The public defender got to a position to say, look, this is a Jamaican Rastafarian or of the Rastafarian faith who has been wronged while in the custody of the state. And therefore, the state must take responsibility. And this is where now, and remember the DPP had said as much, that if the individual wanted, and along with her lawyer, they could by all means seek redress or seek or sue for damages. which is essentially, in a manner of speaking, what the public defender has done. The public defender has said, because remember, the public defender stands between the people and the government. The public defender is supposed to stand on the side of the people, to protect the best interest of the people against the abuse of the state. So things are things.
Where did the DPP stand there to make sure justice served?
All those who are in the business of justice have a responsibility to ensure that justice is served.
Okay. So, let me say me do something. You're supposed to make sure justice meets out to me. Go to court and defend yourself. Why you do it?
There is a process. And all that needs to happen is that the law needs to take its course. And whether it comes out on one side or the other side, so be it. There are checks and balances in the process. So you don't, if you don't like the outcome or the ruling, there are steps that you can take. And such steps are being taken right now in the best interest of Nzinga King. Those steps are being taken right now.
The step is taken on the smaller side of the law where money will issue, and that's it. But
well, tell you what, you're still a citizen of Jamaica, aren't you?
Do want a citizen?
Yeah, well, you can take up the matter. If you're not satisfied at this stage, you can take up the matter.
Okay, boss, I hear it, but I don't think it is easy as you make it sound.
Well, that's the point I'm making. I hope you said it. It's not as easy as how it sounds. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, but I think, as I said, they don't want to go to court and they don't look like, they don't look like they know what they're doing. But at the same time, I've seen many cases go before the court and the court make a decision. So, to make people stop question our credibility, put it before the court.
But you're not going to escape that, because win, lose, or draw, people are still going to say this and that and the other. It happens all the time. When the courts rule in our favor, my God, justice. We get the justice system works. Hip, hip, hooray for the justice system. When it doesn't work out in our favor, boy, may I tell you, the worst thing this, may I tell you, not justice today at Jamaica. You cannot win. Any way it comes out, you're going to have that argument. It's just the way it is. So those who are involved, those who are stakeholders in this business of justice, have a tremendous responsibility in the administration of justice. Because when they fail, it undermines. When they fail, and failure doesn't necessarily mean winning or losing a case, but the how they present themselves and the case and so on and so forth. When they fails, then the system is undermined.
Yeah, but I want to ask you this question. And I go for everybody. If you go to get justice and you go the other way, is it the same way you're gonna feel?
I think we have talked about that already. Yeah, but that is it. That is it. Everybody is right. Nobody is wrong. That's a general mindset. That is just me alone right. Everybody else is wrong. And so I can't deal with a system like that. That's the thinking. And sometimes people are moved to take matters into their own hands. But the system is the system. If we agree that this is the justice system that we have and we're working with. Now, if we are not satisfied with aspects or elements of the justice system, then this is where now we agitate and advocate and seek to get the attention of the legislators to amend or otherwise rework or recalibrate whatever the laws, regulations, systems, processes say. But for as long as it is the law, whether we like it or not. Until we change it or we mobilize people in such a way that the state is forced to change it, then it is the law, and we have to abide by that law.
Yeah, but some of the law, if we go to the man of England, sometimes we get justice rather than in our own country, or that.
Well, that's how the system was meant to work. It doesn't always work in your favor, but you get another opportunity, you get another chance, you get another opening or another panel before which to present your case with the hope that they will rule in your favor. That's what those are called checks and balances. So a judge at this level, a judge in a court at this level, there's another court at another level and another one at another level. So there are different levels, and that is what allows for the checks and balances. When you have to appeal, you appeal this to this court and that court until it gets to the point where the matter comes to an end, one way or another.
Okay. All right, in closing, I want to get something to think about. Two church sisters have a problem. And the pastor go feel what going on. Saying, Carol Alexis sister with him call him said, he don't want them say what him say. When he hear what the first sister said, he give her right. He go to the next sister and then give her right. So him second say, pastor, the two of them can't right. Him say, you know, say you're right. So he get 3 person right there, sir. All right, boy.
All right, you'll have to buy a round for everyone after that one. Thanks for the call. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Here are some more messages coming in. Carol Williams says, good day, Dervan, saying hello from Brooklyn, New York. We had a shooting on our subway train this morning, and it's a recurring tragedy over and over with gun violence. When will this change or end? Yes, indeed, we heard the news, Carol Williams. We'll say some more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock. Relax, Paul. Cover your nose and your mouth now and stay far from me. It looks like the flu have you aware.
I mean, to tell you, I have fever this morning. Right now, I have some pain. But I still have to try to go for Pinky to get some phone credit.
It's like you never hear a thing where the nurse tell me the other day. She said we feel rest if we have the flu. We feel cover our nose and our mouth when we cough or we sneeze. And we feel wash our hand regular with soap and water. You better try go back to your yard and stop spread the flu. The flu is no joke. Visit your doctor or nearest health center. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 50 years. That's right. Join us on Thursdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and at 9:55 p.m. Compliments of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Educating, advocating, empowering. Under the Law, Thursdays on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us on WhatsApp. The number 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And just to get back to that story, the news in relation to the Brooklyn subway. Let's see if we can give you the very latest. This one 6 minutes ago. Let's see what we had here reported. So the Independent reported that Brooklyn shooting, subway shooter still on the run as police search for U-Haul van with Arizona plates. The police are searching for a U-Haul van with Arizona license plates, AL31408, in connection to the gunman who opened fire inside a Brooklyn subway train during Tuesday morning's rush hour. The suspect, who has not been identified but is described as a black male, 5 feet 5 inches, with a heavy build and wearing a green construction vest and gray sweatshirt, remains on the run over 7 hours after the attack that left 28 people hospitalized. The chaos unfolded at 8:24 this morning, that's Eastern Daytime, on an N train traveling to Manhattan when the suspect donned a gas mask and opened a gas canister inside the carriage, the police said. He then opened fire, shooting at least 10 people inside the train and on the station platform as it pulled into 36th Street at Sunset Park. In total, 28 people suffered non-life-threatening injuries from gunshot and shrapnel wounds to smoke inhalation. A gun, magazines, gas canisters, and fireworks were recovered from the scene, with the investigation suggesting the gun may have jammed. Officials initially reported undetonated explosive devices were found at the scene, and witnesses suggested there'd been an explosion. But police later said there are no known explosive devices on the city's subways. That's the latest we have. So, Carol, we trust that those involved or the individual involved will be brought to justice, and that the people of Brooklyn and elsewhere in the tri-state area will be able to breathe a sigh of relief as opposed to moving about in fear. Sherry South Time says, hello from New York. Great to see you. Same here, Sherry South Time. Norman Hines says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan, Malcolm, and listeners. To you too, Norman Hines. Travis the Gifted Hansen says, good afternoon, Dervan and everyone. Hope everyone had a meaningful Lenten season. It's still happening. And having a blessed Holy Week as we prepare for Easter and the Passover. I have a question about Jamaica's vision to become a republic. Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort explains yesterday that a Republican status would not be possible in time for Jamaica's 60th anniversary of independence. But she did not give a timeline how long the process would take. Based on your understanding of it, is it something that would be possible for 2022, or is it more expected for 2023? That's a function of the efficiency or lack thereof of the lawmakers. That's really what it boils down to. There is a process that they would have to follow, yes, and it shouldn't be that hard to give you a timeline. Perhaps the minister has other ideas in terms of not disclosing a timeline. But it depends on the lawmakers, how efficient they are in drafting the legislation and following the procedures from there. And that will determine if and when that happens. So there you go. Sorry if I wasn't able to give you better particulars than those I put on the table. Thank you for your message. Travis the Gifted Hansen is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Good afternoon to you, Travis the Gifted Hansen. Faye Weller, good afternoon to you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sandra Gibson says good afternoon to you too, Sandra Gibson. Truth to Power says, good day, Dervan. Can you remind me if the public defender was once a senior prosecutor in the DPP's office? I seem to recall that she was once a deputy DPP. And that's highly likely. Highly likely. I'm not sure if at that time I was paying that much attention to these matters, but chances are, truth to power. Sean Chambers, good afternoon to you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. And we are standing by to make a link. Let me see. Let's see if I can get through this message first. Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, and all the ministries of government. On all the ministries of government website or web pages, we're told that we can send messages. But when you send a message, it doesn't go through. And sometimes you see an error message come up. I would like them to try sending messages to the same website like we do and to see the challenges that we're having. And this is coming from Richard in Portland. He says, happy holidays to you and your family. Thank you very much, Richard, for your message. It's an area that we have a lot of work, an area in which we have a lot of work to do. The interface between the citizens of this country and the institutions that are set up to serve us. We can do much better than we have been doing. We need to put in place a much more receptive and responsive public sector, public service apparatus. Because our people are not unreasonable. Our people just want to get a sense that they are respected, that their business is being treated with the same level of seriousness as any other person's business. And unfortunately, we have a system where some of us are able to get by quite easily because of who we are and who we know, as opposed to by just being a Jamaican, a taxpayer, a citizen. Well, thank you for your message. Perhaps you could forward to us information with respect to the specific websites you're having a problem with, and let's see what we can find out for you. All right, let's go to this call coming through on our WhatsApp line, same as the text line, 876-365-3346. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jamaica Love.
Welcome, Jamaica Love.
Yeah, good afternoon, and season blessings to you in the Easter week. I'm just trying to talk about the resident that after 30 years, somebody government said they need their land. And the government said...
Hold on, but just slow down a bit. After how many years?
After 30 years.
Uh-huh.
The owner for the land come back and say he needs his land. And the government said he can't do nothing about that. After people build their land, pay taxes on the land and survey.
Well, my understanding is if you have been on land undisturbed for, hold on now, let's be careful. Let's see. If it's, well, government land, the government can do what they need to do when they need to do it when it comes to government land or crown land. When it comes to private property, which is still government property, although it's private property, when it comes to private property, if people are on your private property or your private land for more than 12 years, undisturbed, nobody has ever come to them to say, what are you doing on our land? Get off our land, etc., etc. If they've been on the land for 12 or more years undisturbed, then they can claim it.
So this one here is 30 years. And this person come now that choose a beachfront. They try to bulldoze the people they must get off.
Well, again, I don't know. I don't know if it's government land as opposed to.
No, it's not. It's private land. But the person for 30 years, nobody come there to people take out people have to survey on the land, paying tax for them court, to them peace. And then all of a sudden now this guy turn up and say he wants to build hotels and this and that, and the family say he can't do nothing about it.
Well, that's why we have a justice system. And for those who feel aggrieved or threatened or otherwise disenfranchised, then the public defender is one avenue that they can use to ask the public defender to act or to intervene on their behalf. We have seen it happen in St. Thomas. Do you recall there was this issue? I think it's land connected to a former, to a retired politician. And apparently the public defender intervened, and she was able to have something worked out in the best interest of the people. So there's one avenue they could try. We're going to a break. Is that it, or do you have more? One moment, please. One moment.
Coast to Coast Concrete, the high quality concrete for fencing, roofing, foundation, and road surfacing. Call 876-754-7472. The time by Coast to Coast Concrete is
3:15.
Celebrate Farmers Month and win a share of $500,000.
Saw the message.
H&L Agro Farmers Month competition, April 1 to 30. Shop with your H&L loyalty card at any H&L Agro store for a chance to win weekly prizes of $10,000.
Just find out if they're available. Find out if the person is available,
now
please.
at your nearest H&L Agro store. Visit
either now or 3:30.
Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lottery.
JPS lines can follow van number reasons. Car accident.
Oh, I didn't send the name to you. Hold on.
If you see a JPS line down, do not touch it. Don't jump on it. Do not try to move it. Call the professionals at JPS so they can deal with it. JPS is more than happy to sort out the problem once they know it exists.
You have it now.
If you try to mess with a fallen power line, you can cause damage to yourself. Stay safe. Protect life and property. For assistance, call JPS at 888-225-5577. JPS.
the Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, providing medical care for function and performance in association with Winchester MRI, Jamaica's first choice for MR imaging. Immune Active Deck, a combination of key active ingredients designed to boost the body's natural defense, and Almighty Studios, a recording studio where we create worship music to praise, to worship, and to serve, present Rehabilitation Now, a 30-minute feature on physical medicine and rehabilitation for people overcoming pain or dysfunction from injury or disease that affects muscles, tendons, nerves, and joints. Rehabilitation Now with rehabilitation physician Dr. Paula Dawson airs every Thursday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. on Power 106. Free your body from aches and pains with Rehabilitation Now, right here on Power 106 FM.
Manage your waste and save. Learn more about various wastewater systems for farms and residential use, assistance in getting NEPA licenses, and monitoring and characterization of your wastewater. Tune in to Real Business this and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for Manage Your Waste and Save. Brought to you by the Scientific Research Council Wastewater Management Services. Environmentally conscious, responsive, and solution-oriented.
Voicemail.
That's Manage Your Waste and Save. Listen to every Tuesday at 10 a.m. doing Real Business, right here on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Let's go back to Macaulay online. Jamaica Love, we're back with you. Thank you very much for holding.
Yes, sir. We're talking about agriculture.
Uh-huh.
When everybody now talking about to feed Jamaica. And back in the 70s, 72, we have our agriculture up. We have the ANC was planting, and even Trinidad Park, where the training police chaser was. It was agriculture science base. But in the 80s, we turned that into a police training camp. And now we realize now that we need to feed back ourselves. When the youth them now not dealing with farming, they're dealing with scamming and killing. How we get rid of this?
By doing what we know we are supposed to do. I don't think there's anybody in Jamaica who doesn't know what to do as far as digging ourselves out of whatever crevices and corners and holes we find ourselves into. We know exactly what we need to do. It's just that too many of us are lazy and couldn't care less until it reaches us, whatever it is.
All right. Have a good weekend.
And the very same to you. Thank you.
Right.
Take care. Thanks for the call. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. That's 876-922-4112-5. Let's clear some more of these messages. Oh, this is a voice note. We have to listen to it off air to determine whether it is airworthy. Roy Lawrence says, bless up, Professor. Enjoy your day and all your listeners. Thank you very much, Roy Lawrence. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Tuesday to you and your listeners. Because both Russia and Ukraine are large producers of fertilizer, it is my belief that the war now taking place between Russia and Ukraine will have a negative effect on our agricultural sector. Prices are going to rise, and we're going to feel it in our pockets. Let us not for one moment believe that the war will not hurt us here in Jamaica. It is going to affect us negatively. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. Thanks for that timely reminder. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. It's the nature of the world we live in these days. We're all connected. And we need each other, whether we want to believe it or not, whether we want to accept it or not. James in East London has sent us a story from Sky News. Boris Johnson, Carrie Johnson, and Rishi Sunak to be fined over lockdown breaking parties in Downing Street. Remember the controversy surrounding this situation. Let's see if we can get the essence of the story which James in East London has shared with us. And it's taking just a little while. The story is coming from Sky News. It's a breaking story. Well, up to the time that it was sent. Boris Johnson, Carrie Johnson, and Rishi Sunak to be fined over lockdown breaking parties in Downing Street. Opposition politicians immediately called for the Prime Minister and the Chancellor to resign, though some Tory MPs who have been critical of Mr. Johnson over Partygate said now was not the right time for him to go, given the war in Ukraine. How convenient. So that's the story. Boris Johnson, his wife Carrie, and Chancellor Rishi Sunak have been notified that they will be fined for breaking lockdown rules. And there's another update. Hold on, let's see this. So the fixed penalty notices are the result of a Metropolitan Police investigation into parties in Downing Street and Whitehall in 2020 and 2021. Mr. Johnson will become the first sitting MP, I beg your pardon, the first sitting Prime Minister to receive a punishment for breaking the law. Boris Johnson will become the first sitting Prime Minister to receive a punishment for breaking the law. And there's a story connected to that story. Boris Johnson fined, Prime Minister apologizes after receiving fixed penalty notice for lockdown breaking party. Mr. Johnson, his wife Carrie, and Chancellor Rishi Sunak were notified that they will be issued with fines for breaking lockdown rules. Opposition politicians have called for the Prime Minister and Chancellor to resign. And the story goes on. Thank you for the update, James in East London. Thank you very much. Lloyd in Philadelphia says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. Good afternoon to Jamaica. Yes, Mr. Dervan, set my mind at ease, my kind of music. Thank you. Love all day. Respect for that mind. For my kind of music on the job. Well, you be safe on the job in and around Philadelphia, Lloyd. Crocs in Black River says, greetings. A few months ago, it came to public knowledge that there were 2 parliamentarians and 6 other public servants who were under investigation and had been referred for making false integrity declarations, with the 2 parliamentarians also being deferred for illicit enrichment. Do we not have a right to be told what have been the outcomes in those matters? Of course we do, Crocs. It came back to my memory because I read a story yesterday in the Gleaner of a businessman in Mandeville who is to be sentenced for making false income tax declarations to the TAJ. The inequity in the administration of justice is even more glaring than what it was on Animal Farm. From Crocs in Black River. Thank you very much for your message, Crocs in Black River. Those of us who are members of the Fourth Estate, who are supposed to serve the interest of the citizens of this country, need to be more forthright in terms of, and aware, a heightened level of awareness in terms of ensuring that these matters don't become 9-day wonders. The onus is on the fourth estate, but more than that, in instances where particular institutions of state have a responsibility to make public this kind of information and give the public an update or keep the public updated on this matter, then there is a need in that regard for these institutions to do much more than they have been doing. It can't be that the information is out in the public domain today, and then we hear people, maybe a discussion or two on radio or elsewhere, or a news item, and then it dies. Nothing comes of it. And perhaps it's a resignation in terms of the attitude. It's a resignation in the sense that some people just say, well, the whole of them corrupt. Everybody knows that the whole of them corrupt already. And therefore, people don't even care to take the discussion beyond that. They just move right along. Thank you for raising the matter, Crux in Black River. Here is Eureka. Eureka says, good day, Dervan. Did anyone admire to cut Nzinga's hair? Admire? Did anyone? Not sure what you wanted to say here, Eureka. I'm really sad about the public defender's report. The report lacks probity and substance. The public defender indicated she arrived at her findings by circumstantial evidence. When she was asked about the circumstance under which she arrived at her conclusions, she indicated that Nzinga went into the jail with hair and came out with her hair cut. She didn't speak with any of the civilians who the DPP interviewed, among others. She can't name any of the people she interviewed. Jamaicans are getting emotional about this case because we tend to be sympathetic to the poor. If this is how we're going to litigate cases, we are in a sad state of affairs. I'm disappointed that so many people don't read before they come to their conclusions. And Eureka has corrected the word admired and replaced it with admitted. Admitted. Right, let's take the break and come back with more in just a moment.
Importers, provide proper invoices for customs when presenting goods for examination. This could prevent delays during clearance. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. The Jamaica Agricultural Society, in association with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, presents the 34th staging of the St. Mary Agri Expo on Easter Monday, April 18. Come out in the Grays Inn Sporting Complex, Anato Bay, St. Mary, for the Farmers Market Stage Show, Kiddies Village, horticultural displays, and much more. Admission, adults 1,000, children 500. Gates open at 8 a.m. Be there.
Hello? Hello?
All you'll ever need to know about agriculture in the 21st century, packed into one program. Farm Talk with Alpha Mackenzie. Farm Talk, showcasing cutting-edge agricultural products, services, and practices. Farm Talk, keeping focus on issues affecting the farming community. Farm Talk, stimulating discourse to propel agriculture as a national tool for development. Farm Talk with Alpha Mackenzie, the farmer's best friend.
when I listen to you in the mornings and the way you interview the people so that us as farmers can really understand. You break it down. It's really powerful.
Wake up to Farm Talk, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. So Eureka corrected her message. So she was asking at the top of her message, did anyone admit to cutting Nzinga's hair? Right. Thank you for your message, Eureka. We'll come back to the other messages in just a moment. But there's a gentleman we've been trying to reach for a while now, but he seems to be overtaken by the exigencies of the moment. Mr. Michael Nicholson, how are you, sir?
Dr. the Honorable Dervan, Malcolm, how are you, sir? I'm wonderful, thank you.
I am fine, thanks myself. Thank you very much, listeners. Michael Nicholson is the National Festival Queen Coordinator. You have served in this capacity before, haven't you?
Oh, yes, for many years. Behind the scenes, making sure everything goes just right. So at the end of the day, we have another national queen to add to our whole group of queens over the years.
Now, it's quite something how COVID-19 has impacted how we do things and when we do what we would normally do, etc. Can you give us an idea of the nature and the extent of the impact of COVID-19 on the general approach, the general program of activities for the Festival Queen competition at this stage?
Well, at this stage, now that the CRA has been lifted, we can now go ahead and produce the shows the way we've been accustomed to doing it. But there has been caution with people coming in and wanting to enter the competition because they're not too sure what the format is going to be like. But as I said before, with the opening, all entries are now open. Ladies from across the island can go ahead and enter. And even if we do have our deadline this Friday, but just in case you miss it, it's not a problem for you to go to our nearest parish office anywhere in the island and go ahead, as long as you're between the ages of 18 to 25, to go ahead and enter the competition. And I know it will be one of the greatest things you've ever done with your life at this particular stage in your life.
It sounds so easy, but are there other elements, other factors that potential entrants in the Festival Queen pageant need to be aware of?
Oh, yes. They need to be intelligent. They need to be culturally aware. They need to be poised. They need to have been doing some kind of work in terms of community work in their areas where they live. And, of course, be culturally aware of all that's happening in the country, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And so what kind of response have you been getting so far? I did see an ad on television, very, very catchy ad. What have you been hearing? What have you been picking up so far? How is the response?
Up to yesterday, when I was making contact with the parishes, some parishes almost have their full quota already. Some parishes are getting there. Some parishes are still to get off the mark, but they've assured me that usually by the time the ad comes out, they usually have flow by May into June, that people are in fact coming in and preparing for the competition. So it's early days yet, but so far so good.
And let's just be clear, are you approaching it this year as you have in previous years, or are there particular changes? For example, will you have the parish event to choose the queen for that parish?
Oh,
and
yes. Yes, we're definitely going to be having a parish event. So we are using the pre-COVID method this year that people can enter. There will be a show that people can come to. Remember, this is our Diamond Jubilee and it's Jamaica's 60th anniversary. So we really want it to be exciting. We really want them to root for their queens. And I mean, it's going to be a big deal that if you win on our Jamaica 60 year, that even puts you to a whole nother level in terms of being queen for this particular year, for this particular occasion, it being Jamaica 60.
What about support? Are the sponsors ready to especially those who have been supporting the pageant over the years? Are they ready to come back on board, or are you getting the impression of some kind of a wait and see attitude?
No, I think this year, because it's Jamaica 60, people really want to get onto the bus. They want to be a part of it. They want to celebrate with the rest of Jamaicans. Know that we've opened up the place. There is a feeling of excitement that we're almost coming back to normal again. So yes, some of our diehard sponsors are still with us, and we'd like to thank them so much for being there. And there are others who, yes, are slightly waiting and seeing, but because it's Jamaica 60, they don't want to miss out on this. And I suggest that they don't either.
All right. So you've been accepting applications or entries. How does a potential entrant listening to us now know what to do? What does she need to do at this stage?
At this stage, all she needs to do is to go on our website, www.jcdc.gov.jm. Click on the link that says Festival Queen Competition. And once she clicks in there, there's actually a virtual form she can sign up. And once she takes it from there, just determine which parish she's actually applying for. And that information will go into the head office of the JCDC and then be passed on to the parish.
Mm-hmm. And when is the deadline? When is the cutoff point? I think you said something about Friday?
Yes, this Friday is our cutoff point. But as I said, in the event that you miss the deadline, you can in fact still go online and go to our parish offices and take it from there and apply there. We'll still take you.
Mm-hmm. Good. And in terms of the numbers, is there a quota? How do you determine if 100 people in the parish of Portland send in entries, and only 5 in St. Mary? I'm just trying to get a sense of the mechanics.
Oh no, but usually it's because you can't live in one parish and apply to another parish, so you're confined to that particular parish. Mm-hmm. But if in fact a parish does get like 100 ladies in the competition, the local Festival Queen Committee will be responsible for using some kind of elimination process to dwindle down to the amount of ladies that they would want for the competition. And this could be anywhere between 10 to 15 maximum.
Oh, so you do have a ceiling, so to speak.
Yes.
Right, 10 to 15 maximum at the parish level.
Right.
And then they have their own pageant at that level, yes, their own process of elimination. Mm-hmm. And then they send a queen to vie for the national crown.
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
So, and as I said, whichever queen it happens to be this year, all eyes are going to be on her. It's going to be one of the first shows that we're going to be seeing this year for Jamaica 60, because it's going to be on August 1. So once they come into Kingston, they're going to have a whole lot to do within the 2 weeks in preparation for the actual show. There's going to be a lot for them to do, a lot for them to train and get ready for. So in a way, the parish show is almost like preparation for the national, because the format will remain the same both for the national and the parish show. So what you're going to be seeing at the parish show is a little piece of what the national is going to look like.
And for those who are still contemplating, should I not? Why should potential entrants, potential contestants in the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen pageant enter? Why should they enter? Why should they participate? Why should they be a part of this experience?
Well, I think so many women have passed through this competition. They've all done well for themselves, those that have entered. And just to name a few, we've had our Dr. Marsha Barnett, we've had our Jenny Small, we've had Jason Hall. All these people, Delia Harris, right, Krista Johnson, they've all entered and they've all done so well for themselves. They have been a part of nation building. They have influenced young people. They have done so much. And their first step in doing that and achieving all of this was when they entered the Festival Queen competition. So it really is something that young women can get themselves into, be a part of. And at the end of the day, They become a whole part of a fraternity and sisterhood of queens who have made it, who have helped to build our nation and are really good at what they do in their various fields, no matter what it is that they choose.
Mm-hmm. And for those who are wondering, so what does the Festival Queen represent? What is the Festival Queen supposed to do?
The Festival Queen represents all that is good about Jamaica, about the Jamaican woman. It shows their empowerment. It just shows their kind of leadership and also the kind of work that they will also do in the community, because part of the emphasis also is on the work that they do in their community. So in terms of community relations, community groups, rallying around the youth that they work with, all of these are part of the things that they have to do. So they have to do a community project or be a part of one or create one in preparation to, in fact, become queen later on. And they will continue that national project and get additional funding once they make it to the level of queen.
Mm-hmm. And so once again, listeners, if you're just tuning in, our guest is Michael Nicholson. He is the Festival Queen, the National Festival Queen Coordinator. And he has been giving us an insight into the expectations, the plans, and all that you need to know. Those of you out there listening and watching, all you need to know about the National Festival Queen competition. So the deadline is Good Friday.
Yes.
Deadline is Good Friday. There's an online platform, I think you said, that can go online to the JCDC's website. Yes?
Yes, www.jcdc.gov.jm. Just click on the link where it says Festival Queen, and they can go ahead and fill in from there, and we will be able to take care of them.
Oh, that's easy. So from the comfort of their living room or wherever, they're able to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, very good, very good. And as you said, the grand finale, the coronation show is scheduled for the 1st of August, Emancipation Day, correct?
That's correct.
All right, we have already.
To the glitz and glamour, the red carpet treatment. It's going to be diamonds and glitter, and all the wonderful things that go with the appreciation for leadership. The competition will focus on leadership, appreciation, and the role of our women in culture, and of course the creative talent, because that is also a big deal in the competition too. Their creative talent. That's one of the high points of the show.
That's right. In fact, as you mentioned, culture, essentially the Festival Queen is a cultural ambassador, isn't she?
Oh, yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She works along with the cultural club, so once those are already in place, so she becomes almost like a patron for that too. And overall, the overall patron for the competition this year will be the Honorable Olivia Babs-Grange, our own minister. So she will actually be patron of the show this year.
It sounds like a lot to look forward to.
Oh, definitely. I'm pumped and excited about it, and I can't wait for the rest of Jamaica to come in, support the parish shows, and also to come to the national show.
Well, we'll be checking in with you along the way. In the meantime, thank you very much for all you've been able to share with us this afternoon on both sides of the story. It's been a pleasure. Take care. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Michael Nicholson, the National Festival Queen Coordinator, giving us some insights into this year's competition. The competition is on. If you've been wondering, the competition is on. The Miss Jamaica Festival Queen competition is on. It is happening. The coronation show is on the 1st of August, Emancipation Day, and there will be the parish elimination and coronation activities, which will then result in the national representatives for all 14 parishes, except that Kingston and St. Andrew are treated as one, since they were merged administratively back in 1923 to form the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, now known as the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation.
listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:46 on Power 106.
What a way Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica keeps rolling out the good fertilizer them.
What you saying? A new one?
Yes, man. It named Evergreen.
Evergreen is a balanced, multi-purpose nutritional formula that maximizes nutrient uptake, improves the plant's health, supports better crop development, harvest potential, and quality. Evergreen can be used on a wide variety of crops and is available at leading farm stores island-wide. Distributed by Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica. Want new wheels? Massive Auto Parts and Car Sales has your cars, car parts, and accessories. Visit 158 Main Street, Ocho Rios, Pineapple Place, or call 876-298-6413. In light of the coronavirus, Massive Auto Parts and Car Sales is asking drivers on the road to be careful and to be safe. Massive Auto Parts and Car Sales, giving you quality parts and cars at unbeatable prices.
The Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, providing medical care for function and performance, in association with Winchester MRI, Jamaica's first choice for MR imaging. Immune Active Deck, a combination of key active ingredients designed to boost the body's natural defense. And Almighty Studios, a recording studio where we create worship music to praise, to worship, and to serve, present Rehabilitation Now, a 30-minute...
Are you out of forms? Are you out of forms? I haven't seen any forms.
That affects muscles, tendons, nerves, and joints. Rehabilitation Now with rehabilitation physician Dr. Paula Dawson airs every Thursday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. on Power 106. Free your
right,
body
I know.
Rehabilitation Now, right here on
Okay,
Power 106 FM. Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Colonel Charles Jr. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play with its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I am giving thanks for life, and you?
Thank you.
There's a terrible hum on your line, but we'll try our best.
Let me ask you, are you a criminal defense lawyer? Are you a lawyer?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So, why are you giving the gentleman misinfo for? You can tell me why you give it that when he calls about the lady that got him and the director of property.
Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not a lawyer.
Oh, so why are you taking up this case?
I am not taking this case. I am, you want to understand okay? So, and you're telling the gentleman.
No, go to the subject. Go to the subject right away. You're beating around the bush.
No. If you're going to have a civility conversation,
go to the subject.
Why are you telling the gentleman about plumber and carpenter? This is not about plumber and carpenter.
That's because you're looking down on plumbers and carpenters. Every professional in his or her field would have had to have achieved a certain level of performance in order to be where they are. They would have had to have put in the work. They know they're supposed to know their field in such a way that they can respond appropriately according to what is happening in their field. It's just a fact of life. There's no magic to it.
Well, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about a case. The fact of the matter is that
the director of the prosecution, he has a right. You're telling the gentleman that Mrs. Harrison don't have certain material that.
But she said that it's out there. That's not what I am saying. It is the information that she got was not doesn't have her collection of data doesn't have the breadth of the collection of data that the office of the DPP has. That's just a fact of life.
So what you need is a grand jury. You need a grand jury to sit through this case. Okay?
And you're saying that based on your legal experience, I take it.
Look here, you asked me if I'm a lawyer. I told you no. What you need is a grand jury to sit through this case.
Yeah, but you are taking on the posture of an attorney right now by virtue of what you are saying.
Listen to me. This foolishness, I don't have to be a lawyer to understand this. Okay?
I'm sorry, we missed what you were saying. Could you say that again, please?
I don't have to be a lawyer to understand law. Okay?
Oh, I'm happy to hear you say that, because that was the premise on which you began. You came here with blood in your eyes. I can hear it. I do communication. I heard it before I heard you. I knew that this was what you were coming with. So you took a position. Are you a lawyer? What you talking about? What?
No, because
that's what you started that.
You're giving the man misinformation.
What is the basis of the misinformation? And don't beat around the bush now. Go straight to it right now. Go straight to it now. Go to the misinformation right now. Go to the misinformation right away. Don't waste any more time. Go to the misinformation right away. You cannot keep putting the point out there about misinformation without saying what it is. Go ahead and say what the misinformation is.
Are you going to allow me to speak, my brother? Are you going to allow me to speak?
Go ahead.
What I am saying to the public defender have her information. The director of public prosecution have her information. What if she has to hide? Put the matter before a court of law, right? This matter must go before a court of law.
So where is the misinformation? That is what I want to get on, because that is a serious accusation on your part, and so that's why I want to go there. So you don't just come and fly a kite about misinformation, and you can't say what the misinformation is. You have to do better than that. You have to do better than that, Mark. Come on, you have to do better than that.
You are saying that Mrs. Harris don't have certain information,
which is a fact. It is a fact. It is a fact. The sources, it's a couple of sources that she took, whose information she took into account, whereas with the office of the DPP, there was a wider sweep of individuals who were interviewed and interrogated and otherwise examined with respect to this matter. It's just a fact of life. There's no mystery to it.
Would you agree with me that this matter must go before a court of law? Let the court of law decide where we.
Well, since you have confirmed at the start of our conversation that I am not a lawyer, I am in no position to make a ruling on that, or to put forward a position on that.
So behaving ignorant. Is that what you're behaving ignorant? Is that what you're behaving?
Mark, please. Enough of this sophistry and the play acting. Enough of that. Let's move on. We know you very well, Mark. Let's move on. What's the next subject?
So what we must now put in place now, we must now put system in place. A grand jury system is going in the future, that when your public prosecutors do not want to take up a case, it go before a grand jury. So the Jamaican people can have justice equal across the board. That's all I'm saying.
And you just said it.
Would you agree with me?
You have put forward a suggestion.
Yeah.
The suggestion is on the table for those who are interested in discussing these matters to determine whether it is a sound position that you put forward or otherwise.
And don't get me wrong. I have no qualms about you. I respect you.
No, you don't need to go there. We're having a discussion. We're having a debate.
So what I'm simply saying, the time has come in Jamaica, Dervan, that the way how director of public prosecution is being offered or they have been appointed, those days must be over.
What would you suggest other than this method that we've been using all these years?
You must apply for the job. You must go before a select committee of parliament, and you must come out with a vote.
I agree with you. I agree with I like the way they do it in America, where you go before, you're put before a committee and you are drilled, you are questioned and interrogated and examined. I like that approach actually to these public appointments. I am in agreement with that.
Right. So, because the system that we have, it is backward, it is outdated, it is not getting anywhere. Because where it stands now, if I understand the Constitution, which I don't read it, that the director of public prosecution, he owns, nobody talks to her. She only make what you call some statement or whatever to Parliament.
Nobody talks to who?
The Parliament cannot hold her accountable. Parliament cannot hold the director of public prosecution. Parliament cannot fire her.
That's a fact.
Her office, the post, that post, it is unworkable, and the Jamaican people are not getting anywhere. So I'm saying, let's change the system and move it forward to a better system that the Jamaican people can have justice right across the board.
Mm-hmm.
My last point to you is that I know Jamaican like to eat wheat flour and wheat. And this war is driving up the wheat price so hard. So we have to now come together, the Caribbean, and see if we can create the agriculture industry that we can grow our own wheat, because it's going to affect the entire Caribbean, entire world. Would you agree with me with that?
No, well, clearly we touched on it. We've been talking about it, and because of the role that these countries play in supplying our food chain on a global level, we have to be a little more inventive and creative and introspective in how we chart a course forward as far as sustainable food security is concerned. No question about that.
So what is holding us back, Dervan?
We're holding back ourselves. One moment, please.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock. Manage your waste and save. Learn more about various wastewater systems for farms and residential use, assistance in getting NEPA licenses, and monitoring and characterization of your wastewater. Tune in to Real Business this and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for Manage Your Waste and Save. Brought to you by the Scientific Research Council Wastewater Management Services. Environmentally conscious, responsive, and solution-oriented. That's Manage Your Waste and Save. Listen to every Tuesday
Both sides
at 10
of the
a.m.
story.
to
Good
Real
afternoon.
Business,
One
right
moment,
here
please.
on Power 106 FM. Farmers and fisher folks, Sagicor has all your answers with coverage for life and health insurance. Tune in this and every Thursday during Farm Talk for the featured Sagicor AgriCare Plan as we educate you on the types of coverage they have to offer. That's Sagicor AgriCare Plan every Thursday during Farm Talk from 6:33 to 6:45 a.m. Brought to you by Sagicor, affordable life and health insurance for farmers and fisher folk.
¿Qué hora es en espagnol? Son las 4:01. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:01. 现在几点了？4:02. A minute past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now's a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding.
Hello?
Yes, please continue. Go ahead, please.
So, Dervan, you said we are holding back ourselves.
That has always been the case.
But, Dervan, if the Caribbean, Jamaica is big, the Caribbean is bigger than Jamaica. If Jamaica and the 14 Caribbean countries can come together, and God forbid, if this war continues for the next 8 months, God forbid, come together now and say, look, let's get into full production as that we can sustain the food supply chain from Jamaica to Guyana. Because it is getting serious. Do we realize what is going on?
No, there's no doubt that we're all plugged in. The extent, how we treat with the information that we're being fed from all over the world, and in particular coming out of the hostilities between Ukraine and Russia, it's out there. People know what is happening. How we respond to these things as individuals is another matter. There are those who take, well, the Germans have an expression, I gather. They say, wisdom is knowing when to solve a problem and knowing when to let the problem solve itself. So there are those with that kind of mindset who take that approach that one way or another, things will always work out. And they become quite comfortable and complacent until the crisis deepens.
Exactly. And so, what the Jamaican people probably don't understand, that the food price is going to get high and secure.
Well, it's already high. It's already going up.
And the thing is, it's because of our brothers and sisters within the Caribbean country. We won't come together so we can buy things in bulk, so we can farm in bulk, so we could supply the European world, we could supply Central America, right? And our biggest problem is that we don't seem to understand where do we want to go from here, right?
Yeah, well, we obviously, the hope is that we have a plan as to how we will navigate these choppy waters. There has to be a plan.
Because, Dervan, if I move to oil, Venezuela is the largest oil producer, but they're not producing enough because their system is outdated, right? We gone back to Venezuela. Jamaica has to go back to Venezuela because your transportation, your motor vehicle is going to come to a standstill if you run out of oil, of gas in Jamaica. Because you can't import it from Africa because you'll be paying $1,000 or $2,000 a litre if you go to Africa. That's what the math is telling me. So the match is telling me, let's look to your backyard, look to Venezuela. Back down there, assemble a team from both political parties and independent.
Do we have to include the politicians? I'm just asking a question.
Lord help me soul.
Can we anyway, go ahead.
Dervan, I see where you're coming from, but probably should want to talk to the political directorate.
No, it's just that sometimes because of the politics, especially the partisan politics, we, one way or another, either we try to assert ourselves from this side or that side to the point where we lose sight of the game, so to speak. We lose the reason why we got together in the first place. But if they're able to do it, then more power to them. If they're able to in a cordial manner act as one in the best interest of Jamaica, then more power to them and us.
But Dervan, I couldn't agree with you more than that, because the politics is dividing us, and we're not getting anywhere. And at the end of the day, the politics affect me, It affects me, although I am still a Jamaican citizen, and I'm a part of the United States. But if they call upon me to go to war, I have to pack my bag and go to war, because I swear allegiance to the Constitution of the United States. So, coming back to Jamaica, I am saying, for God's sake, let's put the politics aside. It's affecting our daily life in Jamaica. It's affecting Jamaicans here like myself. And said, look here, let's solve this problem once and for all. I know you're trying your best. I know people who call the program trying their best, but we are not seeing the best enacted. And that is our fundamental problem.
Maybe we need a chief mobilizer.
So, this is what we do. We realized that we were wrong with Venezuela. We pack up our people and we send our people down there. And we solve the problem. Because we know what is coming at stake. Because we now have to go into a high reserve for the price of gas to go down. But we can't do it for long. This is what the match is telling me. Right? And so, as I said, if this war continues, then the argument is, then your transport system, everything is going to come to a standstill in Jamaica. That is what the match is telling me.
Yeah, well, that's why we have officials elected, independent and otherwise, depending on which positions they hold. And we're supposed to have professionals in their respective fields and advisors who are supposed to stay on top of the data and all of that. And if we don't have that kind of mechanism in place and up and running, then, as we say in Jamaican parlance, dog nyamu supper. And so we trust that we do, in fact, have such a mechanism in place.
I would love for, by the week, to be done. See if our team is going on a private jet, private plane, and we head off to Venezuela, we solve the problem. I would love to see our team of agriculture ministers come together to see if we can solve the problem, because the wheat is going to affect the entire Caribbean. I leave out the rest of the outside world. So if we don't do those two things, but back to what you said, dog is going to eat our supper.
Well, let's see what happens.
The last point to you, Ambassador. I see where Ambassador is being appointed because you love that individual. So you appoint this individual to be your ambassador.
That's not new. Remember that politicians usually appoint those who they find favor with. for whatever reason. It happens. You have an election, and all the sitting ambassadors, except the career, you have career diplomats, but outside of those, the others will be appointed based on the choices that the president or the prime minister want to be made.
It is unworkable. It is not working for the interest of the ordinary Jamaican people like Mac. I have been in the system. I have to deal with the system. It is not working. It only works for you're traveling through the airport and something happened to you. You can't call the ambassador. But if you are traveling as a U.S. citizen or a resident, if something happened to you, you can call your...
You can in fact call the consulate general or the embassy. What we need to get into the habit of is checking in whenever we are visiting foreign countries, whether we're living, working, studying, visiting. It makes sense to let the diplomatic mission representing Jamaica know that you are there, so that in the event of, God forbid, somebody goes berserk and shoots up the subway in Brooklyn, New York, immediately the team at the diplomatic mission can check with their counterparts in the United States, for example, to say this Jamaican was in fact staying in Brooklyn and could very well have been in that space at that time. It's whatever it is. But it does help if we give our information before, if we register with the respective diplomatic missions, so that once something happens, and even if nothing happens, even if it's just to make a connection or to engage a member of the mission in maybe business related matters, or maybe a decision that need to be made, etc. So I think, yes,
you're right. I put it to you, the Jamaica Consul General, the ambassador, do not know how many Jamaicans are in the United States.
And perhaps we never will. I've done so many broadcasts overseas, and I've raised that question because a lot of our people enter the United States under not a cloud, but a cloak of sorts. A lot of our people have done it over the years, and then we find ways to normalize our status, and we move on. So we'll never ever know the true number unless, well, it depends on the approach that we take. But it's still not going to give us the true number because not everybody is going to come forward.
What we have to do in each state. Once I live here in the state of Florida, Mac is registered in the DMV where I get my state ID. So each state that you go, you have your DMV where you register. So the Jamaican government must get the data, talk to the governor, and they will facilitate. So they use Jamaican driver's license as ID of here.
Right. We got you. You perhaps will have to come back to us another time where we have people calls backing up. Sorry about that.
All right, Dervan.
Thanks for the call. Take care.
Get high-quality blinds and beautiful windows, drapes, and wooden flooring from Sam the Blind Man, 40 Barnett Street, Montego Bay. The time by Sam the Blind Man is 4:15.
All you'll ever need to know about agriculture in the 21st century, packed into one program. Farm Talk with Alton McKenzie. Farm Talk, showcasing cutting-edge agricultural products, services, and practices. Farm Talk, keeping focus on issues affecting the farming community. Farm Talk, stimulating discourse to propel agriculture as a national tool for development. Farm Talk with Alpha McKenzie, the farmer's best friend.
When I listen to you in the mornings and the way you interview the people so that us as farmers can really understand, you break it down, it's really powerful.
Wake up to Farm Talk, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 4h16. 现在几点了？4点16分. 16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable. And the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And we have a very patient Beresford who has been holding on our text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Beresford has been holding for 17 minutes. Thanks for your patience, Beresford. Please go ahead.
Hola, mi hermano.
Hola.
Brother Dervan, I was in my garden because them say food was short, so I was there trying to put in a few more beds.
Well done.
And enjoying the program.
Yes.
But then never man call you and start raising hell about the Rasta lady with them cut her hair.
Yes.
Then no, we'll destroy that bro. This camel's back. So we said let me call her and say a few things. You know, I think when all is said and done, despite them trying to paint the DPP as a biased person in favor of the police and against the woman, I think the DPP in her wisdom is doing the best justice for that lady. No. Say they were going to go to the criminal route, right? I don't see what they could charge the police officer for except some kind of assault or simple battery.
No, but those are still serious charges, whether assault or battery.
Okay, but then I'm going to go to court if I were the policewoman and say, listen, I'm a young police officer. Well, I don't know if she was, maybe she's not, but I'm going to tell the judge that I was afraid that the woman going to hang herself. You remember in the Bible, they say when Solomon's son was hung by his locks, like he was riding under some tree or something, and the branch caught him and hang him up and killed him, caused his death. So, you know that every crime is supposed to have two elements. A wrong act coupled with a guilty mind. Them call the guilty mind mens rea and the wrong act actus reus. So, even though sometimes, for example, offenses relating to drunkenness and all of that, some jurisdictions have what they call constructive mens rea, which means even though you don't have the ability to form the intent at the time because of the substance, they still can't let you get away with whatever you did under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So they have what you call constructive mens rea, and have fines in the law for that kind of behavior. No, if you cannot prove that this police officer did it out of spite or malice, then she can say, well, I just did it to prevent the woman from harming herself. And what if they get a favorable jury? The jury might be like, you know what, the evidence is not strong enough to convict the woman. So the DPP in her wisdom is saying, you know what? Let the state compensate you or whatever inconvenience you suffer in there. They didn't say the police beat her or not like that. They said the police cut her locks. So isn't it better? So even if it's a serious charge to say, all right, we go charge the woman and then find her guilty and block her or dismiss her from the force, charge her a few $1,000 or whatever. Then the woman, what's in it for that woman? She still has to go back and school. And then they run the risk of the police going back to go to court and getting away with it. And then weaken her whatever suit she would have had, whatever civil suit she would have had. So the DPP is saying, you know what, the best thing to do, since the knife never put you or whatever, just get some money from the state. So if you get a few $1 million from the state, isn't that better than try to harass her in court and probably she get away with it? What do you think?
We hear you, but of course, the best place to explore and examine and pontificate and otherwise disaggregate would be in a court of law, and wherever justice comes down, then so be it.
But if you're gonna get paid for somebody trimming your locks, it's not better than going to court and stand the chance of losing the case.
It's not about getting paid for someone to cut your locks. It's about your dignity as a human being, as a citizen of Jamaica, land we love, irrespective of your status in life. You have certain inalienable rights. And where the state runs afoul of that right, then the state must be made to pay. Although technically speaking, it's we the taxpayers who are paying anyway, because the state by itself doesn't have any money.
So yes, okay, the state is made to pay. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the DP bring a case to court that she stands a reasonable chance of winning. Because everybody would just want to go court with every little thing and then you help the system. That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, we did deal with that earlier on. Yes.
If there's a gray area where it's my word against your word and the chances are we might lose the case in court, the person might not get punished. But at the same time, it's more sure that the DPP saying it and the public defender is saying it. Take it to the state and make the state compensate her for whatever happened to her in court.
Well, that's where it's at now.
I mean, whatever happened to her in the jail, I'm saying, not court, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they like go back and, you know, she get some compensation and the policeman, woman probably get that thing on her record that she did this act and the supervisor didn't watching her from here on. I think that's a good outcome. So I don't see why I can't the other person might run up their mouth for.
Yeah, well, no, people are free. We should encourage debate and discussion. That way, we hopefully will have less acts of violence. If we can just argue and debate and discuss, and at the end of it all, even if we don't agree, at least we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is. Clarity, you know?
No, we thank you for sharing your position on these matters with us.
And I say, Brother Dervan, again, send back the policeman on them yard, tie the mongoose to the workless dog, and make them catch them, see who go and beat one another. Because you say that the police will go home and be corrupted with their family and their friends and stuff. And I say, nay, because everybody know you. And you know everybody, which means you can't go tell your supervisor, I didn't know who did this or did that. Because you know everybody and everybody knows you too. So you can't whatever, go do make your brother sell some ganja for too long. Somebody go and say, you know, say me never like that boy, the man we have at school, never bust on him. You know, call in the command, don't give them name and say, you know, say, the boy I sell weed with him brother. Because you can't kill somebody in the village and get away with it because your brother police. You can't do nothing too big. Yeah, you will try to some undercover like sell some weed. I don't see what else the policeman can go in and district go do, that he will get away with. And then another thing again, I think people are so disrespectful to them brothers and sisters. Telling me that just because somebody got on police in the all of a sudden is a criminal, they can't trust him to defend his own mother or his own district or his interest.
Well, as we always say, we can always train people, we can socialize people, we can help people to better manage their affairs. But in the final analysis, it all boils down to what an individual does or fails to do at a particular point in time.
And how are we going to achieve community policing when people don't know each other and don't trust each other? How are we going to bridge that gap? What's the mechanism to do that?
Whatever has been tried, tested, and proven, which is not necessarily a sure fit, because one size doesn't fit all. We have to understand the culture of the community, the society, the country, whatever the entity that is the center of focus. Once we have an appreciation for the culture, the practices, the tendencies, then we should be in a better position to chart a course that is going to lead to a favorable outcome. But we can't just jump in and behave in a high-handed manner and expect people to warm to us and to want to share information with us.
But then sir, how are you going to not behave in a I don't know if you call it high-handed or a defensive, or you're not going to take up a defensive posture when you go somewhere where the people start scooping on you the first day they see it? How are you going to make things with them? You're going to go say, oh, you know, how are you going to do it?
Keep smiling. Keep smiling.
Okay, I know they're going
a smile, you'd be amazed at what a smile can do. It can disarm people.
Brother Dervan, I worked in the rough area that Kingston as a cop, you know. And
I know. We've had this conversation before, but go ahead.
No, but the part that I'm talking about, we had the conversation where I was telling you about the roughness of dealing with certain things. But there have also been times when I was kind to many people. When I gave many people a break, young kids especially, talk to them, tell the mother to like bring him to the court, let him sit there and wait and get nervous all day. And at the end of the day, I didn't even put in the papers for him because I saw that he had potential and the mother was trying with him. So instead of just give him a record, I would say like, well, wait, let him see people going to jail and get nervous and, you know, like, at the end of the day, I go and I talk to him, and then turn around. So I've seen it on both sides. I mean, I was like, young police officer, and then I just joined in whatever else was happening around me, and then I became mature. I could even stop police officers from doing stuff that, in my presence, like I said, don't do it while I'm around, because I'm not going to sanction it. So, you learn as you go along.
So it
but
is.
I was never,
We're up on another break. Would you like to hold, or is that it?
No, we can talk another time because I'm busy right now.
All right, no problem. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play with its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. April is Farmers Month, and we're giving back to you. Tune in every Wednesday during Farming Today on Farm Talk as we give away prizes and surprises. Also learn about some of the institutions which play an important role as catalysts for Jamaica's future farmers. That's Farming Today, every Wednesday during Farm Talk, 6:18 to 6:45 a.m. Brought to you by Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica Limited, 2 East Ashenheim Road, Kingston.
Thank you. Tomorrow morning or afternoon? Okay. Thanks. ¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:29. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5h moins 29. 现在地点了5点12分. 29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Poro 106 FM, let's clear some messages. Natalie Winter says, good afternoon all from rainy weather, Washington Gardens. Remember, Easter is coming or coming up. Remember to send your Easter gifts, especially the bun and cheese, says Natalie. Send them to who, Natalie? Jose Diaz says, Dervan, Mr. COVID is back in the US. Wear your mask. Right? We'll remember that, Jose Diaz, but we haven't stopped anyway. We haven't stopped wearing the mask anyway, but thank you very much for the heads up. Tony C says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I wanted to ask Michael, as in Michael Nicholson, who was on with us earlier on, if a he who is now a she is qualified to enter the, and you have Farm Queen here. It's not the Farm Queen competition. It's the Festival Queen competition. Well, it's pretty straightforward. Yes, it is straightforward. What are the rules of the competition? That's it. What are the rules of the competition? And then take it from there. Charles James says, you don't see Mac, is being less than charitable to Mac in Florida. I'll just jump over the rest of that message. I've been hearing his antics for years, says Charles. Thank you for your message. Hello to Inez Ayona Campbell. Good afternoon. Herman Bowie Bailey says, hello, Mr. Malcolm. Blessings always to you too. Sharon Wiles, Dr. Sharon Wiles says, greetings, Sir Dervan. How are you? I'm fine, thanks, Dr. Sharon Wiles. Where are you? Honduras, Florida, Jamaica? Where in the world is Dr. Sharon Wiles? Beresford, earlier on, before he called us, sent us a message. Brother Dervan, your caller needs to understand that justice is not merely criminally charging someone and maybe they get convicted. Justice can also take the form of a multi-million-dollar award. So it is, Beresford. Moralist, oh, look at this lovely, lovely, lovely bunch of bananas. She says, good afternoon, Brother Dervan, a banana off my farm. Well, that's a very fruitful farm you have going there, Moralist. Keep going. Well done. Congratulations. Our colleague, let's see what she's saying. Not sure if she wants us to call her name. Says, hi, Dervan. Listening to the conversation, what some must remember is that there are fashion dreads. People, what some people must remember is that there are fashion dreads. I totally agree with Eureka. The young lady could be detained with hair and come out with none because she could remove them just like regular braids. Well, all of this information is contained in a whole pile of documents that were released by the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. The people are free to draw their conclusions from the data. And Laverne was having a good laugh earlier on. We won't say at whose expense. Thank you. And this one says, good day, Dervan. The answer to the cutting of the hair can be solved by doing a lie detector test on the police and the young woman. Well, those could be applied too. And Jamaica Love was having a good laugh earlier on too. I'm not sure what everybody found so funny, but so it is. G Mac in the Cayman Islands says, good day, Dervan. Why do you allow Mac to talk? Well, we try our best not to, we try to accommodate everybody, quite frankly, except where, if it's an instance where someone steps over the line in terms of slander or mischief, etc. But so it is. No, I don't cut off people, so that you would never hear that. Not into the business of cutting off people. What we do is to, depending on what's happening in terms of time signal or maybe an interview scheduled or pre-arranged, then we bring that conversation to a close, and then we move on. Thank you for your message. The person says, GMAC in the Cayman Islands says, the case doesn't meet the threshold to go to a grand jury. This man talk with friends and on at a bar or on his veranda and behave as if he knows everything. I sometimes turn down the computer when he comes on because I'm allergic to, and we leave that open. The worst part about it is he calls you an ignorant person, yet his level of ignorance. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, GMAC, for your response. Thank you. But we also recognize that people enjoy a level of freedom of thought, whatever they think. We might not be in that mold or that mindset, but so it is. Eureka says, Dervan, how can the police go to court to admit to something they already say they didn't do? LOL. Wow, these people are confused about the case. Cuban in Georgia has a lot to say. He says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I agree with Mac 100%. Jamaica has to get to Mr. Maduro swiftly before the revolving door is closed. Sir Malcolm, you speak of the Consul General's office. If a Jamaican citizen calls the office of the Prime Minister to have a dialogue with him, he doesn't answer calls from Jamaicans. Can you imagine if the Prime Minister were to take calls all day in his office? What you would say, Cuban in Georgia, that it's just not practical. It's not practical, which is why from time to time, prime ministers and other leaders hold sessions and they host press conferences, etc. And this is where the Fourth Estate comes in, because the Fourth Estate is supposed to represent we the people. And they're supposed to ask the questions that we would want answers to, etc. So the Fourth Estate has a role to play in that regard, but to expect the Prime Minister to spend his time answering the phone, please, it doesn't work like that, because we are the same people who would say all him do at daytime is step on the phone and chat to people, and him not do any work. You get the picture. Anyway, Beresford says that's discrimination with the cutting of the locks by those who are supposed to be holding up the laws of Jamaica. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. We in Jamaica need to start practicing de-escalation of conflict and learn to diffuse situations. Be polite, Beresford. LOL. Cuban in Georgia. He's obviously having a good laugh. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, "Good day, Mr. Malcolm. It was a sad, sad day in Jamaica when the government of the day just sat by and allowed West Indies glass to sell out to Trinidad and leave Jamaica. And now criminals are using the compound as dumping ground for dead bodies." You know, my mother worked at West Indies Glass at one stage before she worked at Dervan Corporation. She actually worked at West Indies Glass. And this is the International Year of Glass, as we state on the program at the start of the program every day. And we find ourselves in a situation where we're not making bottles or glass containers as we used to. And so there's a shortage. For example, those in the alcoholic beverages and other beverages divisions are finding out that there's a serious shortage of bottles. Serious shortage of bottles in Jamaica. Of glass bottles. Not sure how it is with plastic, but glass bottles. And we used to have a glass factory in Jamaica. We used to have a glass factory in Jamaica. What a tragedy. And the rest of this message, it was a 24-hour operation, never closed, and now it's gone. It was the only glass company in the Caribbean. I just don't know what else to say for now. Yes, too many of these instances of Jamaica and Jamaicans, for whatever reason, allowing ourselves or being a party to a movement from a better place to a less desirable place. That's like punishment. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why must we punish ourselves so much? Thank you very much for your multiple messages. And there's more. Donovan says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Donovan. Thank you very much for joining us. Truth to Power says, by the way, Dervan, when last has the Prime Minister faced the media in a forum where they can ask him any question about any matter that is of interest to the public? Well, again, that's where the Fourth Estate comes in. Remember, the Fourth Estate pressured Portia Simpson Miller, remember that she hadn't had a public conference or a press conference in a while, etc. And I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember. But from time to time, you feel that void. You say, but hold on, long time we don't hear from the Prime Minister. And as the Fourth Estate, what do? There's an association, a press association, write to the Prime Minister and state your position. It's been a while since we have had the pleasure of your company, Mr. Prime Minister, to answer certain pressing, pertinent questions. We'd like for you to make yourself available for such a time. And and that's how you go about organizing such a session. But that's where the Fourth Estate comes in. These are the things the Fourth Estate must pay attention to say, but hold on, we haven't had a prime ministerial press conference now for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever. And the Fourth Estate can effect that change because the Fourth Estate is all over media. The Fourth Estate is media. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
April is Farmers Month, and we're giving back to you. Tune in every Wednesday during Farming Today on Farm Talk as we give away prizes and surprises. Also learn about some of the institutions which play an important role as catalysts for Jamaica's future farmers. That's Farming Today, every Wednesday during Farm Talk, 6:18 to 6:45 a.m. Brought to you by Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica Limited, 2 East National Road, Kingston.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Stories from Jamaica and across the world, keeping you informed on the issues of the day and more. It's Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Learn interesting facts and trivia. Participate in lively discussions on affairs locally and internationally. Hear the stories of business, philanthropy, and more from Jamaicans at home and abroad on Both Sides of the Story. Come tell your side of the story. Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, on a mission to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Right, so ¿qué hora es en español? Son las 5:13. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:13. 现在几点了？5点加13分. 13 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? So we spoke about the fourth estate. That's the term used to describe the press, the media, the press. And there's a quotation that I love. It's over my desk in my home office. It says, it's from a case, Murray Gurfein, the jurist Murray Gurfein, 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 Murray I. Gurfein. He said, a cantankerous press, an obstinate press, a ubiquitous press, and the word ubiquitous there means everywhere, essentially, to put it simply, everywhere. So you could say the ubiquitous prime minister, meaning the prime minister is everywhere. You're seeing the prime minister all over, for example. So that's the word ubiquitous, everywhere. So a cantankerous press, an obstinate press, a ubiquitous press must be suffered by those in authority in order to preserve the right of the people to know. A cantankerous press, an obstinate press, a ubiquitous press must be suffered by those in authority in order to preserve the right of the people to know. That's one of my favorite quotations. So there you go. Thank you very much for your message. Let's go back to the phone lines, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Blessings and good day. Blessings and good day to you, Mr. Malcolm.
Blessings and good day to you too.
And yours.
And yours as well. Thank you.
Platform.
Thank you.
I heard a gentleman called earlier on and said that if this war between Ukraine and Russia is not over soon, it will have an impact, a drastic impact on our resource in order to feed ourselves. Being as it is said that most of the grains and the fertilizer come from that side of the world.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Mr. Malcolm.
Are you usually dishonest with me? These are the expressions every now and then when I hear people say these things. I know it's part of general usage, but when you start to say, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a anyway, go ahead. I digressed. Go ahead.
Yeah. Someone is taking advantage of us because of this war, Mr. The war shouldn't have impacted us so early. It's not a world war. But the Western world that we have become so accustomed and dependent on for everything, even for the news. I'm on the media, sister. My apology.
Mm-hmm.
Even rely on for our news, which is one-sided, are taking advantage of us. They are increasing the price of oil. They are increasing the price of other things, making us thinking that we were getting everything from Ukraine and Russia. It's the first in all my life I know that flour mills, and I'm over 50-year-old, flour mills is most of their flour was coming from Ukraine or that side of the world, Russia. And I do, honestly to God, I don't believe that's so. I think the Western world, especially the United States, is taking advantage of it.
How?
In such as they are saying in more than one way.
In terms of the narrative that they put out there,
yes, and also yes, telling us that Russia is committing some atrocities and war crime, etc., etc. Because they have always been at odds with Russia, and Russia have always been at odds with them from the time of the Cold War until today.
But what about those who point to the evidence, and they've been showing footage of some of the sites and scenes?
Yes, Mr. Malcolm. I've had some footage myself of people in body bags and camera around them, and then the bad people start coming out of the body bag to respond to a particular person.
But that obviously would have been staged if there was such a thing.
Man, there's a lot of stage going on. Yes, because Mr. Malcolm, one of the problems I blame with you people, and I said you people, I don't mean it disrespectfully. You need Jamaica needs some people like you who can travel all the world and give our independent report of give our whole report of what's going on in the world.
You don't trust the other reporters from BBC and ABC and NBC and CNN, no?
I don't.
What about Al Jazeera?
Al Jazeera, well, it has some credibility. That is the Islamic news report. Yeah. It's coming from one of those Islamic countries.
Yes.
All right. And also, Mr. Malcolm, this war is not gonna over just like that. It's gonna go on for a year. I promise you that. And we have to get involved. And then the weapons of the Most High God indignation has gone to the book of Jeremiah 50 and verse 25. It's going to be ruled out. And those are thermonuclear weapons. They have to be used. They are in stockpile long enough. It's time for them to be used. It sounds sad, but it's a reality. So some of us have to prepare to die. Some of us have to repent. And some of us have to learn how to starve, so to speak, go on fasting. We have to eat less and do more repentance and prayer so that we can be salvaged from out of the system that we're in, confusion and chaos.
Yeah.
But in order for one kingdom to rise, one has to be destroyed. And like I said to you the last time I called, and I mentioned the book of Micah, chapter 2, when Micah said he stand up from his watch and see what the Lord said, and the Lord told him that the vision was for a fancy time. It means this man will be coming down, the so-called white race. It is time to him now. He has done enough wickedness on the earth. It's time for righteousness to be restored. And it's coming back. It's our time. And I want to tell you, your callers who mentioned about the impact of the war on our agriculture and etc. etc. I will go to Micah, not Micah. No, I mentioned Habakkuk. I'm going to Micah chapter 4 and verse 6. It's like a woman in travail. If the war is gonna, just like the pandemic, it look like it. The pandemic is not over, no brother. The worst of it is yet to come. It will be.
And
like
you're saying the same for the war.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna have to leave it there for now because we're trying to squeeze in another caller. Sorry about that. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, the last caller telling me that for one kingdom to rise, another one has to be destroyed. Well, nobody has to go there and destroy anybody. And those that are calling for us to go there and to Venezuela pertaining to oil, what they must do is come and call upon Russia to take themselves out of Ukraine. Because we understand superpower politics, and Russia with the crumbling of the Berlin Wall, and Russia as a superpower has been planning for a very long time to make a resurgence. So what is at play is no ordinary game. So unlike that caller there that is coming with its frivolous argument, when they realistic Jamaica in terms of the impact on our agricultural sector, where fertilizer is concerned, then all those leftist apologists that are going around hiding under religion, they say the devil sells scripture to suit themselves, they are going to be in for a wide awakening. So don't come and talk about Western propaganda. Communist propaganda is worse, because at least in a democratic country, for example, the United States, people are free to express themselves, but right now in Russia, you have a muzzle press whereby 15 years is being imposed upon people that are being dissidents. And we must be thankful for our freedom in our country and be supportive of countries that practice freedom of speech, irrespective of certain flaws that they may have in their system. Have a good day, Mr. Malcolm.
Thanks for the call. Take care. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Tuesday, the 12th of April, 2022. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News comprehensive.